What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another weekly warnings episode. Before we get into it though, first I would like to remind you, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel even further, why not become a member? If you join the Void Mage tier, you can be like David here and get to view videos of mine before they're published to everyone else. All early videos will be located on the community tab for members only. Last week was a bit of a reprieve from what we're used to seeing, and this is typically how it goes. We get a good week followed by an absolutely awful week. We get the typical price manipulation, and now it doesn't even seem so much that it's the card optimizer. I know that's what we've been saying all summer, and there was truth to that because people optimized their carts, and they found that some sellers that were originally listing, average cards for a fair price were getting away with pushing a premium on others. I had people message me that after optimizing it was a ridiculous amount. But over the past month or two, I have to say the direct feature seems to be the big culprit now. If you're a seller on TCGplayer, you need to take advantage of that because you're basically doubling what everyone else is listing their cards for and getting away with it because TCGplayer is going to promote your listing to the very front. The first card we have to talk about is Fate Unraveler from Born of the Gods. This did get a reprint, however, that was quite some time ago. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Fate Unraveler deals 1 damage to that player, so basically Underworld Dreams. It's 4 mana, it's on a creature that's easier to kill, so that does work against it. It's still good though. It's still more of the same if you like things like Nekasar, forcing card draw on your opponents, making them lose life for drawing more cards. But with a market price of around 6, it means people are actually paying more than 6 for this, which just doesn't seem right to me. As you can see today, the 18th, or I guess yesterday if you're watching it today, the 19th, $9.89 twice, which doesn't seem very practical. It's not something that the average person's going to go out of their way to do willingly, unless they are really being taken advantage of because of the direct feature, and they're just assuming that, oh, it's a direct seller, they probably care about giving me a quality experience on this marketplace. They're not trying to fleece me out of extra money. So there's nothing meta-based that would cause this card to go up. Even when it was standard legal, it was never really that good in standard. So this is a commander card to be taken advantage of 100%. As you can see though, we do get some direct sellers. If you need proof of that, you can just list these for a ridiculous amount. Owl Central Games with a quantity of 44. As we saw on the previous page, it is selling for around 9 to 10, so one of these listings must have worked. The next card to talk about is a Johnny's Chosen from M14. Anytime this card goes up, I get a little suspicious because it's always been dirt cheap. Even when M14 was legal, it was never really that desirable, just a generic good card that would give you creature tokens if you like playing enchantments. A market price of 3, of course, means that people are buying this for over 3. It has been reprinted a few times, so it's not difficult to find at all. Don't we have that Pegasus creature that's even better than this? Yeah, so it's not even one of the best at what it does. You can get even better token value out of enchantment strategies. This is actually very common though when you look at the sales. A sale on the 15th for $19.99. That's just the way, unfortunately, how some of these go. I'm not saying that this is the direct feature. Sometimes people get tricked. It could just easily be someone playing some games trying to manipulate its value. Again, though, it's not a card that you should entertain spending anything more than 50 cents on. Next up, we have a good card here that does actually see a lot of play. It's Elidar Guardian. Heading up above $2 here, this uncommon from Aether Revolt is essential for a lot of combos. Granted, you could accomplish a lot of them with Restoration Angel, but this one just being able to hit other permanents you control is so flexible. And it's only an uncommon, its value is never going to be ridiculous. This is another case of the direct feature basically doubling the asking price. You get the convenience of direct, but you're going to have to pay twice what you normally would, which for an uncommon, that adds up. You get a lot of these little cards that aren't really worth that much money. Now you start to see why it's such a big deal. Next up, we have Return of the Wild Speaker from Commander Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. It's an amazing card, instant speed green card draw, even though it's 5 mana, and you could possibly use it to give your non-human creatures +3/+3 until end of turn. It's very flexible in Commander, but because it's been reprinted a bunch now, it doesn't really have much value to hold. But the first thing you see on TCGplayer when you click on the Commander Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Return of the Wild Speaker is a direct listing for $20. This could be the culprit for the other $20 one, just random $20 sales for cards that aren't even anywhere near that. And I've seen this seller before, Hectare's GG. I'm not quite certain how you say that, but this seller has been doing this for a while now. And I said I normally wouldn't call out sellers who are, taking advantage of the direct feature if they're just getting a little bit of a premium. This is a clown show. So yeah, Hectare's GG, whatever your name is as a seller, you should be ashamed because you're probably ripping people off and you know it. Next we have Hungering Hydra from M19. Nothing really special, it's a decent +1/+1 counter creature if you're looking to play on a budget. Budget because it's been a sub $1 card for a long time. And you could assume looking at the sales on the 15th, someone was trying to push this card at a higher premium. You see that many repeated sales on the same day, only one quantity of each. Very doubtful that this was genuine interest that drove the price up. Next up we have Gyro Sanitarium, a pretty solid land. This is the one from Commander 2019 though, which means that sellers probably have a lot of it in their inventory, as they typically do of bulk rares that come in precon decks that people just don't really care that much about. A market price is 6, again it means that people are buying this for well above 6. When the listing average is that much lower, you start to get a little suspicious, and this is a card that's been reprinted a few times now. But page 1, you see our buddy, last save point, 679 for not really a land that you would call a staple. You wouldn't throw this into just any commander deck. In fact, I assume most players just forget to add this to their decks where it would synergize, because forcing each player to draw a card and discard a card is okay, but you're basically devoting 3 mana because you have to tap this too in order to accomplish that. It's not worth anywhere near this asking price. And finally, we have our Cityscape Leveler. From the Brothers War, this card has gone up quite a bit. Maybe the only card in this whole video that isn't that suspicious because it's still in standard. It's something that's going to have some Pioneer impact probably, which is why I don't tend to jump the gun on some of these newer cards. When you cast a spell and whenever it attacks, you destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent, its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token. So it's got a good cast trigger, and keep in mind, cast triggers make things like the Eldrazi really powerful. You could counter the spell, okay, I won't get the creature out there, but I still get the cast trigger that allows me to destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. So this card's pretty popular now because the worst case scenario is still really good. You also get to unearth it later on. So looking at the sales, I'm not really that suspicious. It seems to be over the course of a couple days, trending upward out of genuine interest. So anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Weekly Warnings. They can't all be winners, so we'll see next week if we get the same kind of bad luck. But until then, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, it really does help. Again, become a channel member. That goes even further to helping the channel out. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.